Hello everyone! Today's yoga sequence is inspired by AI. I asked Perplexity to give me a 30-minute yoga sequence, and I had to shuffle and enrich the content a little bit, but this 30 minutes of leg strengthening and hip opening yoga sequence is brought to you by me and Perplexity. So I hope you enjoy this practice, and let's get started. We'll start the practice in a standing position. So we're gonna transition into a mountain pose. I don't really have mats in this room, but the idea is that you will be facing one short edge off your mat. All right, and then stack everything on top of your heels and make sure that your whole body is in one straight line. Okay. And then we're first gonna start in some mountain poses. So once you feel like you're aligned in one straight line, with one breath in, bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head and hands together above your head. Okay, and breathe out, relax your shoulders, sink a little bit deeper through your heels. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, lengthen through your fingertips, and this time when you breathe out, bring your hands through your sides to be by your legs. Let's do this one more time. Breathe in, bring your hands up through your sides to be on top of your head, and put your hands together. Breathe out, relax your shoulders a little bit, hands still together on top of your head. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, through your fingertips. And this time when you breathe out, bring your hands down through your sides. Perfect. And from here, we're gonna go into some sun salutation sequences. So to do that, we're gonna start with a mountain pose again. So breathe in, bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head, hands together. And this time when you breathe out, fold forward, dive down, and bring your hands down as well. Okay. So breathe in, this time halfway lift, straighten your back and then straighten your legs as much as possible. You lift halfway and breathe out, fold forward again. Relax your head. One more time, breathe in, halfway lift, straighten your back, straighten your legs, and breathe out, fold forward. And from here, find your hand positions by your feet to support you, and then you can either step or hop back into a plank pose. Perfect. And from here, let's first go through a knees, chest, chin. So exactly what it says, lower your knees, and then lower your chest, and then lower your chin. And then you can move forward so that your forearms are on the ground supporting you and your upper body is lifted. So we're in a Sphinx pose now. Okay, let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Ground a little bit deeper. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Sink a little bit deeper. Perfect. And from here, bring your hands to be beside your ribs, and then support yourself into a plank pose. And then when you breathe out, come into our first downward facing dog of the day. All right, so breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper, sink your shoulders a little bit deeper. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink your shoulders a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, you can come back into a plank pose. And then breathe out, you can hop or step into a forward fold. Perfect. All right. And when we breathe in, halfway lift. So straighten your back and your legs. And breathe out, forward fold. One more time. Breathe in, halfway lift, straight back, straight legs. And breathe out, forward fold. Perfect. And from here, when we breathe in, hands through your sides to be on top of your head, and hands together. Perfect. And then, when we breathe out, we're gonna forward fold again to go into a second sun salutation sequence. Breathe in, halfway lift,
Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, hands getting you ready for the plank pose. All right, and then breathe out, come into a plank pose by stepping or hopping. All right, and this time we're gonna do a Chaturanga. So basically you're almost gonna do a push-up, but stop halfway, and then flip into an upward facing dog. Perfect. Let's be here for one breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. And breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. All right, and then when you breathe in, go into a downward facing dog. So we're gonna be here for 2 breaths for our second downward facing dog. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Shoulders sink down a little bit more. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit further. And then breathe in, come back into a plank pose. And breathe out, step or hop into a forward fold again. Perfect. From here, we're actually gonna go into some leg strengthening sequence. So in this forward fold, we can easily transition it into a standing split. So to do that, bring your hands to the ground to support you. And then you can kick your right leg up into a standing split. Okay, so you're still in this forward fold position, but your right leg is kicked up to go into a split position. All right, try to make sure that your hips are leveled. And then we're gonna be here for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, relax your head, and breathe out, fold forward a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and then breathe out, fold forward a little bit more. Okay, and from here, we're gonna transition into a warrior 3, okay? So you're gonna try to bring your back leg to be parallel to the ground, okay? And then you're gonna try to bring your upper body up off the floor, okay? So your left leg can have a tiny bend to make sure that you don't have any joint locking problems, okay? And then support yourself. If you need a little bit more support, maybe stay on the ground or maybe hold on to your left leg. But if you're ready, kick your right leg back to be parallel to the ground and bring your hands through your sides to be parallel to the ground as well. Okay, so let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, kick a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, kick a little bit more. And then when you breathe in, bring your right leg to be in front of you. Okay, so now you're kind of in this high lunge position. All right, and we're gonna, from here, transition into a tree pose. So maybe with the help of your right hand, bring your right foot to be touching your left leg. Make sure that it doesn't land on your left knee because we don't want any joint problems. Okay, so find the positioning for your right foot to be on your left leg, and then maybe with the help of your hand, open your right knee to the side, okay? And then let's check the alignments. Let's make sure that our hips are leveled, all right? And our knees are opened as much as possible to the side, all right? And then your spine is just straight and lifted, okay? So feeling that engaging upward pointing sensation through the crown of your head. Perfect. And once you're ready, you can bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head and hands together again. So it's basically like a mountain pose. It's just that we have our right legs lifted. Okay, no big deal, you know? So imagine yourself being a tree. Your left foot is your root. And then everything else is just growing. Okay, so with one breath in, lengthen through the crown of your head. You're growing, you're reaching for the sky. And breathe out, sink deeper through your root, your left foot. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. You're growing. And breathe out, get in touch with your root, your left foot. Perfect. And then when you breathe in, lengthen one more time. And when you breathe out, bring your hands down to your sides, and we're going to transition into the last leg strengthening
and hip opening position. Okay, so with the support of your hands, you're gonna bring your left knee to be right next to your right knee. Okay, so your knees are together, which also means that your right foot is kicked back close to your right hip. Okay, so hold on to your right foot. Okay, with your left hand, all right, so I recommend holding on the inner edge of your right foot to get that gripping sensation when we kick up. Okay, once you feel like you have a good grip, you can bring your left arm up, left hand up. Okay, and then when you breathe out, kick your right foot into your right hand, and your left arm will naturally fall forward. Okay, let's begin this dancer pose for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. And breathe out, kick a little bit more into your hand. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe out, kick a little bit more. And then when you breathe in, relax everything and give it a little shake. That was a very intense leg strengthening series. So give yourself a little time to relax your legs. Okay, and once you feel like you're ready to proceed, then let's go back into the sun salutation one more time. So breathe in, hands up through your sides, on top of your head, together. Breathe out, fold forward. Breathe in, halfway lift, and breathe out, fold forward. Okay, breathe in, halfway lift one more time, and breathe out, fold forward. And then breathe in, bring your hands to the ground to support you, and breathe out to maybe step or hop into a plank pose. Perfect. And from here, let's do a knees, chest, chin. So knees down, chest down, chin down, and then move into a Sphinx pose. So your forearms are supporting you on the ground and your upper body is lifted. Perfect. Okay. And then we know the drill from here. Once you're ready, breathe in, bring your hands to be right by your wrists, and breathe out, go back into a plank pose. Breathe in, downward facing dog, and then breathe out, hop, or step into a forward fold. Perfect. And from here, we're gonna do everything on the other side. So hands are on the ground supporting you. This time you kick your left leg up. All right, and then hips are leveled. Let's be here for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Make sure that your neck is relaxed, and breathe out, fold forward a little bit more. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe out, fold forward a little bit more. Okay, and once you're ready, we're gonna go into a warrior 3 by kicking your left leg to be parallel to the ground and try to bring your upper body up to be parallel to the ground as well. And once you're ready, make sure your hips are leveled, and then bring your hands to your sides and then to be right in front of your head. Hands can be parallel to each other. Okay, let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Your right leg can have a tiny bend. Let's be here for 1 more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And then when you breathe in, bring your left leg forward into this high knee position. And then we're gonna transition into a tree position. So with the help of your hands, maybe bring your left foot to be on your right leg, anywhere but on your right knee. Once you're ready, let's check our alignment. Your hips should be leveled. Then when you're ready, you can bring your hands through your sides to be on top of your head. It's really helpful if you pick a stationary spot in front of you. Okay, so that's gonna help you with your balance. Okay, so your hands can be parallel to each other or together, whatever makes you feel good. And then one more time, let's imagine that we're trees. So your root is your right foot, and everything else are your branches, you're growing. Okay, so breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, you're growing. Breathe out, connect with your root with your right foot. One more time, breathe in, growing, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, ground a little bit more. Perfect. And then when you breathe out, you can bring your hands to your sides, and then you kick your left foot into your left hand, okay? So your knees are right next to each other, but your left foot is kicked back close to your left hip. From here, we're gonna go into a dancer's pose, right? So a good gripping of your hand will be to touch the inner arch of your left foot. And once you feel like you're ready, so your hips are still leveled, your right leg is still very engaged. Once you're ready, breathe in, bring your right arm up to be right next to your ears. Okay, right fingertips point towards the sky. There's a healthy bend in your right leg. Okay, and then breathe out, kick your left foot into your left hand, and your right hand naturally falls, and your right arm will be parallel to the ground. Let's be here for one more breath. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, kick a little bit more. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, kick a little bit more. And then when you breathe in, release everything, kick everything, relax. This is all of our leg strengthening series, so we can really relax our legs now. Okay, but to seal the deal, we're gonna do one more sun salutation. So breathe in, hands through your sides to be on top of your head, and breathe out, fold forward. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out, fold forward. One more time, breathe in, halfway lift. And breathe out, fold forward, perfect. And when we breathe in, we bring our hands to the ground to go into a plank pose again. So breathe out, kick, step, or hop into a plank pose. Perfect. And from here, when we breathe in, we're gonna go into a downward facing dog again. And from here, we're actually just gonna step our right feet to be outside of our right hands, so that we can come into a hip opening lizard pose. Okay, this should feel pretty good after all the strengthening work. Okay. All right, so if this is already a lot of hip opening, then stay in this position. Otherwise, feel free to bring your forearms onto the ground for a deeper stretch. Okay, let's be here for 2 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out. Maybe sink a little bit deeper, open your hips a little bit more. Okay, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Perfect. And then when you breathe in, bring your hands to the ground again if they're not, and then breathe out, step your right foot back. Perfect. And then let's do everything on the other side. So breathe in, step your left leg forward. Your left foot should be outside of your left hand. If this is a great opening, stay in this position. If you can go deeper, bring your forearms onto the ground. Okay, let's be here for 2 breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. If this is getting challenging, you can also lower your right knee onto the ground. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. And breathe in, bring your hands to the ground, and breathe out, step back into a plank position. All right, breathe in, go back into a downward facing dog. And from here, we're gonna do a couple more hip opening positions. So let's first come into pigeon poses. So let's first kick our right legs up into a 3-legged dog, and then right knee to right elbow, and then right knee to right wrist. And then lower your right shin down. If you can, keep your right shin parallel to the short edge of your mat. And the more parallel your shin is, the more open your right hip will be. So if that is too much hip opening, feel free to bring your right foot to be closer to your left hip, okay? So find your perfect alignment. All right, and let's be here for 3 breaths so we can really dive into the hip opening benefits of the pigeon pose, okay? So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink down. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit more, maybe your forearms are on the ground. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit further. Perfect. And to get out, if your hands are not on the ground yet, bring your hands to the ground to support you, and we're gonna come back into a three-legged dog. Perfect. And then lower your right leg so we can do everything on the other side. So lift your left leg up into a three-legged dog, and then left knee to left elbow, and then left knee to left wrist, and then lower your left shin down. If you can, try to keep your shin parallel to the short edge of your mat. If that is too much, feel free to bring your left foot to be closer to your right hip. And once again, we're gonna be here for 3 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Maybe your forearms are on the ground. Let's do this 2 more times. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink yet a little bit deeper. One last time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink yet a little bit deeper. And to come out, if your hands are not on the ground yet, bring your hands to the ground so that we can kick back into a three-legged dog. Perfect. And then you can lower your legs down into downward facing dog, and then we're going to transition into frog pose. So first you can come into a somewhat like a tabletop position, but with your knees wide, so maybe as wide as your mat. And this position is going to get us ready for frog pose, which is a hip opening position, which allows you to slide your hips open to the sides a little bit more. Okay, so there are 2 options now. So if you feel like your hips are still not quite open, you can do a half frog with me. Okay, so basically instead of 2 legs bent and both knees sliding to the sides, you're gonna just keep 1 leg bent at a 90 degrees angle and then slide to the side while the other leg is straight behind you. Okay, and then you try to lower all the way down to the ground or to whichever position that feels good to you. Okay, and then you're gonna switch your legs when we're doing our 4 breaths onto the other side. So maybe your left leg is at a 90 degrees angle to the side, and then you lower all the way down. Okay, but if you feel like you're ready for a challenge, then you can do a full frog with me. So let's get back into this wet-legged tabletop position. And if you feel like you're ready for a full frog, maybe with some padding on your knees so that your knees are not too sensitive, just slide your knees to your sides so that you're opening your hips. Okay, so checking your alignment, your knees should be bent at 90-degree angles and your hips are leveled. Okay, and maybe you can't sink all the way onto the ground yet, so you can either just support yourself with your hands or with your forearms. Okay, perfect. And from here, we're gonna be here for 4 breaths so that people who are doing half frogs can have an opportunity to switch in the middle. Okay, so let's get started. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head again, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink yet a little bit deeper. And for people who are doing the half frog, you can switch to the other side, and together we're gonna do 2 more breaths. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, maybe sink a little bit more. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Perfect. If your hands are not on the ground yet, bring them to the ground to support you to get out of the frog pose. So we're back into a tabletop position, a normal tabletop position. And let's wiggle out all the intense feelings by some cat and cow. So breathe in, round your back, hands down, and breathe out, arch your back, head looking up.
Breathe in, round your back, heads down, relax your neck. Maybe shake your head no and nod your head yes. And then breathe in, arch your back, bring your gaze up. One more time. Breathe in, round your back, lower your head, relax your neck. Maybe shake your head no and nod your head yes. And breathe out, arch your back and bring your gaze up. Perfect. And from here, Perplexity give us a challenge. Okay, so from this tabletop, you can maybe go step your left foot forward. So you're in a half split. Okay, so your left leg is straight in front of you and your right knee, check the alignment, is bent at a 90 degrees angle. So this is a half split on your left side. Though Perplexity has really high hopes for us and it really asks for a full split. So if you feel like you're ready, no pressure at all, you can come with me into a full split on your left side. If not, just stay in this half split position. Let's be here for 3 breaths. Okay, so breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. One more time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. One last time, breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head, and breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. If you are in a half split, bring your left leg back a little bit, right leg back to this 90 degrees angle, so back in this half split, so you can come out. And then of course, let's switch everything to the other side. So step your left leg back and bring your right leg forward, straight. And keep a little flex on your leg so you can really feel that hamstring stretch, okay? Okay, so if you feel like this is plenty, just stay in this position. Make sure that your left leg is at a 90 degrees angle, all right? And if you feel like you're up for a challenge that Perplexity has put us into, come into a full split with me by kicking your right leg forward. Bring your left hip more towards the ground, okay? So whichever split you're in, let's be here for 3 breaths. So breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe out, sink a little bit deeper. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. And breathe out, sink yet a little bit deeper. One last time. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head. Breathe out, sink yet a little bit deeper. To come out, you can just come back into this half split position if you haven't been. So left leg bent, right leg straight, and then you can kick your right leg back into a tabletop position. Perfect. Okay, so that's a lot of leg stretches. So we're just gonna close out by some more cat and cows and come into a seated position. Okay. So let's go back into a tabletop, our favorite. And let's just close out by warming up our spines one last time with 3 breaths. So breathe in, arch your back, bring your head down. And breathe out, round your back, and bring your gaze up. One more time. Breathe in, round your back, bring your gaze down. And breathe out, arch your back, bring your gaze up. Okay, 2 more times. Breathe in, round your back, bring your gaze down. And breathe out, arch your back, bring your gaze up. Last time. Breathe in, round your back, bring your gaze down. And breathe out, arch your back, bring your gaze up. Perfect. Lastly, let's come into a neutral spine. And then we're gonna close out in wide-legged child's pose. So after all the hip opening, you should feel very comfortable with opening your hips up. So maybe as wide as your mat. And then you can sink your hips down into a wide-legged child's pose. Okay, so feel free to be here for as long or as short as you want to fully relax and take in all the practice, but we're gonna be together here for 3 breaths. So let's do that together. Bring your forehead to the ground and breathe in. Think about lengthening and growing through the crown of your head again. And breathe out, sink a little bit deeper, reconnect with your roots. 2 more times. Breathe in, lengthen, thinking about growing, branching out. And breathe out, sink a little bit deeper, reconnect with your roots. 1 more time. Breathe in, lengthen through the crown of your head and grow and branch out. And breathe out, sink a little bit deeper and really connect with your roots. Perfect. And when you're ready, you can gradually bring your hands to the ground to support you back into a seated position. And then we are done for the practice. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey with Perplexity AI. I hope that you enjoyed this 30-minute practice. If you're interested to know how much of the yoga plan I modified from the original plan suggested by Perplexity AI, feel free to check out the description box to see what it takes to make an AI suggested yoga plan, the one that we just practiced right now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time on the mat. Bye!